Hey guys, it's Eddie here from DilleenProperty, and today doing another quick video. Today I'm sharing my thoughts on, a question that people seem to ask a lot, and I guess a concern that some people have when they're looking to invest in property. So one of the concerns is, if I purchase a property, what's going to happen if the tenant trashes the place? Who's going to pay for that? What stuff am I going to have to maintain and fix, and what happens if I get bad tenants and all that kind of stuff? And look, it's a concern that a lot of people have when they go to get started and buy their first one or two or so investment properties. For me, I've purchased a lot of property, owning 13 going on 14 investment properties at the moment. I've had a lot of tenants. I've had a lot of good ones, some bad ones, and lots of stories. And I guess me just sharing my thoughts on the topic is that if you're going to invest in property, there's going to be obstacles to overcome. And with any property, it doesn't really, it's not just about where the property is. So, I bought in really, really nice areas. I bought in some, not so nice areas. I bought, properties in the middle there, some near the beach, some, further away. My first property that I bought was like an hour out of Sydney, and that had like graffiti on the outside. Not a lot, but had a little bit. And some people were like, "Oh, don't buy that," it's thing. But that property's almost tripled in value now, so it was a good decision after all. So one of the things I guess is that dealing with tenants, and one of those concerns, like at the end of the day, you need to have landlord insurance on a property. I guess that combats some people their thoughts and concerns. So if I always recommend having landlord insurance. And what landlord insurance is, there's different types of insurances when you go to buy property, but landlord insurance covers the internal part of the property. It can also cover loss of rent in case a tenant breaks their lease and moves out unexpectedly. So that will actually cover that if they've broken their lease, like loss of rent. So the insurance company will actually pay you money. And I've actually had that done before. I've only had one time, I've only ever had to do an insurance claim once. And that was because one of my properties, I have a house, one of them that's an actual house, the tenant broke their lease. And they weren't paying their rent for like the last couple of weeks as well. And then they just tried to get away with it. But so I did an insurance claim and got the money back eventually. So I guess that your landlord insurance covers the loss of rent factor, if anything happens with the carpet, the fixtures, the fittings and all that kind of stuff, the internal part of the property itself. So that's a big factor. Like at the end of the day, you got landlord insurance when anything goes wrong. And the mindset behind buying property, you've got to take the leap of faith sooner or later. You can't, there's a lot of people that they try to justify not taking action and not buying property with what if this happens, or what if that happens, what if something happens to the property and I've got to pay for it. At the end of the day, if you've got building insurance, landlord insurance, you've got the right property manager to make sure that they're actually looking at the tenants and screening them and doing checks and making sure that they have paid their rent on time and look after all the other properties that they've ever rented in their lifetime. So those are some things that I guess. And it's once again, it's not about the area. Like I've had a lot of people, they're worrying about what area the property's in, and you can have tenants. Most people hear horror stories about people renting out, and then the tenant kicks in a wall, breaks a wall, does something like that. But those can happen anywhere. Like you can have a property in Bondi in Sydney, a really nice blue chip suburb like that, and then that tenant might have a party and trash the joint. It could happen in a lower social economic area as well. So it just depends. It's always a case by case scenario. But with anything, you'll usually only hear the bad stories. You never hear the good stories, because people, in general, most people like complaining about things and sharing those bad stories. But that, I guess, is sometimes what stops people from taking action. So yeah, I guess I know for myself, I didn't want to be in the position looking back 20 years and saying, oh, I didn't buy a property and because of this, because of that might happen, and just make lots of excuses for not buying property. So yeah, I hope that's, I guess, changed your mindset a little bit. Always recommend getting landlord insurance and making sure you cover your ass, and having the right property manager as well to, I guess, ease your concerns about getting started in property. And yeah, I hope that video's helped. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next video. See ya.